Isle of Discovery is my very own dream custom theme park I'm making in Planet Coaster 2, filled with so many different themed areas and even some very unique rides and roller coasters, as you would expect in a theme park. But having previously just finished our brand new Egyptian themed area with a Mack hypercoaster and indoor Valhalla type boat ride, it is now time to begin our next themed area, which is going to be the Wild West. You guys have been requesting this themed area for so long, and I'm so happy to finally be making it. And inside this area, I wanted to build a roller coaster that you guys had also heavily suggested, but I've put my own twist on it, which I think you guys might like. So be sure to watch till the end so you can see the work in progress look at this new ride, and be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future episodes, and so you don't miss any future videos in general, because I make so many different videos, from speculation to recreations to, of course, this series, Isle of Discovery. Welcome back to episode 26 of this series, and yes, we're starting a brand new area, finally. I know the Egyptian themed area only lasted, I think, 3 episodes, but we're starting the Wild West, which I know a lot of you guys have wanted to see for so long now, since that update was announced. You guys have been asking for a Wild West area in this park, and it's finally happening. And as you can see, starting off very quickly, I'm actually building 2 roller coasters here. Now, one of the major suggestions from you guys was you want to see a wooden roller coaster in this park. I did actually say I was going to build one in the jungle themed area of Amazonia. It ended up being just a launch coaster, which is not a wooden coaster. But I also saw a lot of suggestions for an RMC as well in this park. Of course, that being a wooden and steel hybrid coaster that can go upside down and do like outer banks and everything, all that good stuff. And I thought I couldn't make one in this area after you guys have suggested all of those ideas for a wooden coaster and an RMC. A lot of you wanted to see one of them in the western area. I had to do both of them. So, as you can see, I'm making a dueling wooden roller coaster and RMC roller coaster, which there's a lot of inspiration here. Of course, classic dueling wooden roller coasters like Grand National at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, or just any in general. There's so many classic wooden roller coasters that duel, but you've also got an RMC that duels out there. You have Yoi at Wallaby Holland, which just opened up. Back to that in a minute. And of course, Twisted Colossus is a major one as well. That actually duels, but isn't 2 separate stations. It's just one singular ride, which is mental. And those were my inspirations for this. Twisted Colossus and just generic dueling coasters, especially like Stardust Racers now as well, where they sort of go over and under each other through one going through an inversion and another going through an airtime hill, that sort of thing. And Yoi for the fact that one side is family and one side is thrilling. Or, sorry, one side is chill and the other is thrill, because that's what they call them over there for some reason. That has a lot of elements on the chill side that are just airtime hills, generic sort of like family elements, and then you've got the thrill side that does the inversions and the outer banks near it or over it. So that was my inspiration, but I thought I couldn't have a family RMC. I think that would just look a bit silly. Single rail, sure, not an RMC hybrid. It would be a waste of money in real life. You would rather it just actually do outer banks and over banks. So I thought it'd be really cool. For instance, in the past, we have this classic wooden roller coaster that exists at the park. Again, we're going to have to think of a name for it, so get those names in the comments already. But there's obviously that generic wooden roller coaster that's more family-based. It has quite a big drop on it. But after that, you then go into like an airtime hill, a nice bank turn, and like over banks, and more quick airtime hills as well. And then you just sort of make your way to the end, and it's quite a fast-paced wooden roller coaster. So I wouldn't say it's like a old generation one, like a Custom Coasters International, if you will. It's more of a GCI, but round it is now this RMC roller coaster that does an inversion over that drop you've just seen me build, which was really hard to time up actually, because you actually have to have the RMC going slightly faster up the lift hill to catch up with the actual wooden roller coaster. And then you can see me doing the layout for the actual Woody here. I thought originally I would try and build them both at the same time and go through each element with each coaster track, but I realised quickly that that was going to take forever. So I decided to base the wooden roller coaster off of some of the elements that I wanted to do on the RMC. So for instance, I know I wanted a 0G stall, which could have been under that airtime hill. The overbank after that, I could easily make an outer bank for the RMC, that sort of thing, you know. So just sort of working my way around the wooden coaster with the RMC in the back of my mind. So yeah, this is such a fun ride though. There's so many interactive points. There's a couple bits where the coasters actually go off themselves for a little bit, and then they'll just meet up seconds later, go over and under each other, which means we're going to have to put some lockers in to actually go on the ride eventually. And just so many other elements on here. It's not too long of a ride. It actually does get a bit longer the longer I leave it, because I actually came back to this project a couple days later and started building it again. And that's where the idea to make it a bit faster and actually last a little bit longer came in, because it was going to stop literally after that hill I just built. Like right here. Yep, there you go. It's already stopping. And it actually gets extended a little bit with one of my favourite parts of the ride now. So yeah, definitely don't just leave a project. This is Planet Coaster 2 tips for you. Don't leave a project just down to one day of building. Leave it a couple days, you know. Sort of think about it and come back to it, and you'll make some really good improvements. And that's exactly what I've done here. The wooden coaster, smoothing it out now, and then we will start the RMC around it. It is so nice to finally have a wooden roller coaster in this park. As I said earlier, I was going to build one in the jungle area. Didn't end up happening. I did actually place the station down for that and start building it, but it just didn't fit right, so I decided to leave it. And we're here now building one in the Wild West, which I think will be even better. I was worried about the wooden coaster thing in the Wild West area being a generic thing, but I feel like with this RMC around it, it won't be generic. It's going to be unique enough, and I really can't wait to finish it off, because we're going to theme it all in the next episode. As you can see, I did build some airtime hills on the RMC, and I gave up on it because it didn't look very good, and also the speed was way too fast. The wooden coaster was struggling to keep up. So then I've changed it to a 0G stall under there, my original plan. There will be custom supports for this, by the way. You'll see it this time. There won't be any, but next time and the time after, just so many times, you know. In the next few episodes, you will see those custom supports start to flourish. And will they be wooden supports or steel supports? A bit of both, I think. There's some areas like the 0G stall that will need steel supports, but then there's certain areas that will need wooden supports. So I'll try my best to do that. I haven't actually ever custom supported a wooden coaster before, so that'll be really interesting, but I am down to find out how that goes. As you can see, a nice outer bank there, which actually gives you a really nice high five element. Not that you can high five, because that would be very dangerous, but you literally get so close to each other, as you could see with it fast testing there. And it's moments like that that I, first of all, absolutely love, but second of all, forgot how hard it is to actually sync up. And it's so intricate what you have to do with dueling coasters. This is my first ever dueling coaster in Planet Coaster 2. I built one in Planet Coaster 1. You might have seen it on the channel, maybe. I think I built it for the January Every Day I Build a Roller Coaster series, which I might do next year, I don't know. But that sort of thing, it was pretty easy to sync up, but at the same time, I forgot just how much you have to go back between elements, and you have to test it through. You build one turn or one element, and then you have to test both coasters to make sure it syncs up properly, and that was what I was doing constantly with this coaster. And eventually, it worked out. It was really nice. As you can see, oh, it's so satisfying the way it goes through that turn, and then these airtime hills, and that cut back over that airtime hill on the wooden coaster. That is really cool as well. It was quite tough to make unique inversions, considering RMCs just do a lot of barrel rolls and 0G stalls, so a cutback was another one that I thought of. That worked quite well. And then we go into airtime galore over this section here. And now we reach the latter stages of the RMC coaster this time, and I do say that I'm going to build the latter stages, but I literally stop at this point with the RMC because I test it a few times and I realised the wooden coaster has too much speed going into the brake run. It could definitely do a few turns more, and also the RMC is way too fast as well. So I thought, you know what, let's make it a little bit longer. Testing it once again, I told you, it takes so many test runs to actually get this right and make sure they're actually dueling properly. And there's times where it hasn't been dueling, the RMC has gone too fast, the wooden coaster's gone too fast, so it's really about perfecting that. And I think I got it to a point where it was pretty decent, and then I realised the layout isn't long enough. So I took the wooden roller coaster's ending and I actually edited it completely and just added this helix on. I thought that might be enough. Turns out, after one test run, I thought, No, it needs another helix. So then I deleted the ending of that and tried to put another helix in. And this is the sort of process I wanted to show you guys, because towards the start of this series, I was showing you the coaster building. I was showing you the exact points of where I thought, oh, actually, this is pretty decent. I'd cut out all of the mishaps and all of the mistakes. I think that was silly, because it does take a very long time to build these coasters, especially in this park as well, with the areas and everything, the theming we have to get right. And especially with a dueling roller coaster like this, I needed to get it so the RMC could do stuff around it. For instance, those helixes a minute ago, what was the RMC going to do around that? It could literally just do the same thing, if not nothing. So that would make no sense, which is why I replaced it with those nice little turns at the end. And I think that worked quite well. You can see me testing that. Again, syncing it up. It was so difficult to sync up properly, and at this point I realised, hang on a minute, I can make the RMC do a barrel roll / corkscrew over that turn on the Woody and hope that they would go over at the same time. And upon the first test run, they went over that at the same time. Like, that is crazy. It's such a cool looking piece of both rides, just seeing one barrel roll over the other as it turns round, and then they sort of sync up again turning. And then I thought about a wave turn. It'd be really cool to see that final few turns on the Woody. When you go through one of them, the wave turn on the RMC, it goes round that at the same time. You sort of pass underneath that as well. I thought that'd be really cool. Had a few issues with the brake runs not lining up. I don't know why that was, but for some reason something happened there. Still not a clue where that came from, because again, I've been building this all in angle snap, 11.25 degrees, I believe, so it can always be running next to each other without some little like discrepancies or whatever. But it still happened at the end. I don't really know how that happened. As you can see, smoothing that ride now, you can see that wave turn in its full glory. I think I do actually test that through, and that took a little while to get right, I believe. Yeah, it wasn't exactly on time how I wanted it, but now when I show you it in real time in about 4 minutes or so, that has been sort of perfected, I guess. Naming these two rides then, I spoke about it briefly earlier, but please do leave your suggestions for what you think these two coasters should be called in the comments below. You guys come up with some amazing name suggestions. Of course, if you somehow don't know, Isle of Discovery, every ride is named by you guys. The park was actually named by myself just because it's the first park I've ever made. I thought it'd be really cool to call it Isle of Discovery. Everything, area names, restaurant names, everything like that, all down to you guys. So if you have any name suggestions for these two, let me know. Of course, this is a Wild West theme, so keep that in mind. It could be themed to some sort of like revolver, I don't know, but you can see me doing the colours there. I was trying to go for like a blue and red vibe, but it really did not work. So I actually went for a sort of generic wooden coaster brown colour, and then a lot more of a steel wood colour on the RMC, which again, that could play into the theme and the name somehow. I don't really know, but yeah, testing it around and sort of making sure that all the dispatch times and they're actually synced together. Colouring the trains as well. So yeah, if you've got any name suggestions, please leave them below, as I changed the trains there. That is something that gets changed back very briefly because it messed up the speeds, but I did change them back later down the line, as you'll see in real time. But there you go. It's not really real time yet, but here's a look at some of the pathing. That area is definitely going to be used for a dark ride. I really want to use that for some sort of dark ride, especially like an Omni Mover or even something like Hex, I don't know. And then you've got some areas of pathway there. Just some nice little base templates, those pathways, you know. Nothing too major. And yeah, I started doing those pathways and then realised I wasn't recording, so that bit's my fault. But here we go then. A flat ride as well. God, I'm spoiling you in this episode. But I thought it'd be amazing to have a main flat ride in this area, a huge thrill flat ride, because we don't really have many of them in the park. I think the main thrill flat rides are the Hammer Swing, Mjolnir over in the Storstime Viking area, maybe a couple other ones here and there, but none come as big as this. This is a huge flat ride that's going to swing back and forth over the two Woodies. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with for names for that one, because there'll be so many different opportunities to theme that up and sort of make it look like maybe it's like swinging through some like old saloon buildings, or maybe it is just a weapon of some sort, I don't know. But there's even a carousel going in as well right at the end of that main street. I was sort of throwing that back to Portaventura there a little bit in their western area. They have this really nice grand carousel at the bottom, and it looks really, really nice. So I thought I'd put something like that in. And yeah, there's space for a dark ride on the left. That would be great. What dark ride do you want to see in there? There's so many things that you guys can suggest in the comments, so feel free to go ham with it. I'd love to see them. But yeah, the carousel looks quite nice. Obviously, as I've said already, no theming is going to take place in this episode. That will all be in the next couple episodes. And then past that point will be the completion of the area itself. And then the final area. I think I will be able to make that area. I really, really hope I can. Obviously, once this area is done, we'll then see. But it's going to be so cool to build one final area. I've got such a good idea for it, and I think you guys will love it. I don't really know what coaster's going to be in there yet, but I have a few ideas on that. Theme is a definite, I think. I'm just so excited to start building that, and it's quite nice, you know. As Mark Woodbury said at the Universal Epic Universe grand opening, his favourite ride is the next one. And that's the same for Isle of Discovery, guys. No, I don't know. I actually don't know what my favourite ride is in this park. I feel like, for uniqueness-wise, it might have to be these two wooden coasters, because I've never seen this done before, and I'm really, really happy with how it came out. There you go, that's for this episode. The max spinner for the intensity. But other than that, I genuinely couldn't tell you my favourite coaster in the park. Jungle Rush is probably up there. I love the fact it just goes in and out of the trees. I was so proud of how that came out. And then obviously loads of other rides too. There's so much going on in this park, and it's almost coming to an end. I think we are going to reach 30 episodes before it finishes, which is quite a cool number to finish on. It's a nice round number. I'm just building some maintenance bits here, nothing special. And then probably going to link that up. Yep, there you go. Told you. It's like I built it already. But I am so excited to finish off this Wild West area in the next couple episodes and then build that final area. And I'm actually going to talk to you a bit about the boundaries of where that final area is going to be when we go into real time. And that is coming up. Let's just go into real time right now. You join me here again in Isle of Discovery, and it feels like we're just in the jungle right now with how much trees and shrubbery is beneath us. But I thought I'd give you quite a cool view over the trees of what we're building. Well, what we built recently, such as the huge Mack Hypercoaster, and of course that massive boat ride building that is way bigger than I thought. In fact, I now think that is the biggest building in the park, beating Legend of Penglai, which was already about 100 feet tall. So yeah, that's pretty mental. But of course, the area that you do come from to actually go into this area, or I guess the main portal to it, is from Lantasia. Oh, we've got a lifeguard walking in. What? There's no water slides here. What are you doing? But this takes you towards this split off point here to either the Wild West or Ramesses, or Ramesses, however you want to say it. This is now the entrance to the Egyptian themed area called Ramesses or Ramesses. I'm not going to go into pronunciation war. Yes, that is now the name for this area, and that name wasn't suggested by anyone as just the area name, but those who commented names for other rides that made me sort of inspired to call it this were Lee 3 Tomo, Penguin Tubers HD, and the Maverick 987. So thank you very much for suggesting the name Ramesses in some form, because it is now the official name of this area, with Rise of Ra, Sands of Time, the Scales of Anubis, and now this right here, the Curse of Sutek, who is the Egyptian god of chaos. I think that name works so well for this, and that was suggested by Manchester Aviation and Rail. So thank you very much for that name suggestion. I really do like that, and this is the entrance area for it. But of course, you've already seen it in the time-lapse footage, and you can see it through the trees already. The Wild West themed area, and as you can see, we've already got some theming going in for this split-off point, but you will come down here through the trees and enter into a lovely saloon, wooden sort of buildings, Wild West themed street with this lovely carousel right at the bottom, which will have fences up because right now this is an extreme safety hazard. And from there you'll be able to go left or right towards this massive plaza area here, which, as said when I did that little real-time section in the time-lapse, is going to be used for some huge dark ride of some sort. I'm not too sure what that will be yet, because I still feel like we could fit a dark dark ride in like a building over here. But yeah, there is that massive space in case I need it. Because then you make your way to the entirety of this lake with the coasters going around it. Look at how cool this looks. Running all around the lake, all around the pathways as it sort of goes over and under right here. And you can see it going over to this hillside as well. And yeah, there's just some really cool elements on this. As you can see, the wave turn as it comes around the turn there, look. That's so cool. Genuinely, I don't think I could have worked this out any better than I did. Because already you've got 2 more trains going up the lift hill. This is going to be a people eater when it opens. Again, another plaza area here, maybe for a restaurant or something to be maybe in the side of that huge dark ride building. And then this long pathway takes you down to where this huge gyro swing is. Again, there could be more flat rides over there in that gap, but so far, this is the main flat ride in this area. A huge gyro swing towering above the park. I wouldn't be surprised if that swings probably higher than the wooden coaster goes. U-line and pathways around that as well. And then you've got this section here, which again, more buildings can be on this outside section, and here there is definitely space for some more rides in this area. But then you can see the border has come in right here, and we'll discuss that in just a moment after I POV one of these 2 coasters. I would do both, but we're going to save that for when they're finished. So we're going to POV the wooden coaster because you can actually see the dueling a lot more on that one because you're not flipping upside down all the time. Again, this isn't fully smoothed out yet, so just bear that in mind. I think this first drop is a little bit unsmooth, as you can see. And then we drop down. Look at that interaction though. How cool is that? And then you see it go right underneath us. And it's to our left. That is so, so cool. And then this high five element. There it is. You can wave at your friends on the other train. That's almost a triple down on that RMC if you count the big airtime hill as one. And then you got the banking round. I just love how they stay so in sync, but they're still doing their own things. If we look behind us, there you go. Whoa, just about. That's one element that I wish could have gone over at the same time, but I couldn't make that happen unless I make one of the hills a little bit slower. But then it would mess up this. Look at that. The gyro swing and then that wave turn. There he goes. Final airtime hills, and I think the RMC, yeah, the RMC just won that. There you go. How cool was that? This would be a first of its kind in the world, and Isle of Discovery is home to it. There you go. Probably one of my favourite coasters, or plural coasters in the park. I struggled there. I didn't really know what to call it. But that might not stay the same when I end up building this new area on the right. If you remember in the previous episodes, I did say that this Wild West themed area would actually go all the way down here and extend all the way down and be a huge area. But my only issue with that is how am I going to blend this Chinese themed land with the Wild West that closely, if you get what I mean. At least over here it's got a bridge and you're still on the other side of a river, whereas yeah, over here there'd be no blend at all. So my plan now is to make underneath this grey line here a brand new area that starts with just like a nice little walk through, maybe some restaurants or something, no rides that are huge, and then create the rest of that area in this rectangle here. So it's still going to be a sizable area, just not as big as the Wild West. But that'll be happening after the next 2 episodes, because we've got to focus on this first, and you can see how big this area is compared to even Egypt over there. Because it's not just this square that the coaster is in, there's going to be a dark ride, and maybe another dark ride, more flat rides, everything like that. Maybe even a junior mine train coaster or something, I don't know. I'm just excited to get into this theming and building this area. So stay tuned for the next 2 episodes if you do want to see this area develop. And remember to leave your suggestions down in the comments for what you think the names could be of these rides, and also any theming suggestions you would like to see in here. Oh, and if you aren't already, subscribe. Many thanks for watching.